Nothing breaks. That's the problem. Failure announces itself. It interrupts routine. It forces attention. But most underperformance does not interrupt anything. It integrates. The website remains online. The analytics dashboard updates. The reports show movement. Traffic fluctuates within normal range. Conversion rates don't collapse. There is no obvious decline, so no one intervenes, because nothing is visibly wrong. But invisibility is not proof of precision. It is often proof that the misalignment is subtle enough to survive. Stability can function as camouflage. A website can remain technically functional while strategically outdated. Structure intact. Design consistent. Navigation unchanged. But the business has evolved. The offer has sharpened. The positioning has matured. The market expectations have shifted. The site remains a record of who the company used to be. And because it does not malfunction, it does not get examined. There is no crash to justify review. No error message to trigger redesign. No visible breakdown to escalate internally. Technical stability masks strategic distance. And distance, when gradual, becomes invisible. The company grows. The website stays still. That gap widens quietly. Misalignment rarely presents as error. It presents as friction. A headline that feels slightly broad. An offer that requires explanation. A call to action that feels optional rather than decisive. Slight hesitation before submitting a form. A second tab open to check alternatives. A longer sales call than expected. Individually, these moments feel insignificant. Collectively, they shape performance. But hesitation is difficult to measure. Clarity lag does not appear in standard dashboards. Decision fatigue is not flagged by analytics. Dashboards measure motion. They do not measure conviction. So the organization sees activity, traffic, clicks, engagement. What it does not see is the invisible delay between interest and trust. And that delay is where value erodes. Not dramatically, quietly. A website does not need to repel a visitor to underperform. It only needs to make certainty slower, and slow certainty compounds. When friction becomes routine, organizations adapt. Sales explains more. Marketing amplifies more. Operations absorbs more. The system grows around the misalignment. Processes expand to compensate for unclear structure. Internal documents multiply. Follow-up emails increase. Clarification calls extend. None of it feels urgent. Because nothing broke. The site still functions. Leads still arrive. Revenue still moves. But the cost shifts elsewhere. Into time. Into energy. Into internal complexity. Stability allows inefficiency to hide inside professionalism. Everything looks competent. But competence is not the same as alignment. Alignment produces leverage. Without alignment, effort increases. Output remains static. That is not collapse. It is dilution. And dilution is difficult to diagnose because it does not look like failure. It looks like normal. Over time, the organization forgets what clarity felt like. It forgets what decisive messaging looked like. It forgets what structural precision enabled. It normalizes longer cycles. It normalizes additional explanation. It normalizes good enough. And normalization is the most effective camouflage of all. Because once friction becomes familiar, it stops being questioned. The most expensive problems are rarely dramatic. They are quiet enough to survive scrutiny. A website does not need to fail in order to underperform. It only needs to remain unexamined. Stability should invite review, not prevent it. If nothing breaks, that is not confirmation. It may simply mean the system has learned to live with misalignment. and systems that learn to live with misalignment eventually mistake it for design. Nothing breaks. That's the problem.